Go for it.
Hey, good morning, everyone. My name is. Can everyone hear me first? Are we on?
There you go.
Okay, there we go. My name is Jim Pendergast. I'm the Senior Vice President of Customer Experience here at Sage, and very happy to be here for this discussion we're going to have today. Sometimes it's really all about timing. So in the keynote speech today, we heard from Deepak, we heard from Colin Powell. We heard about 13 rules, 7 rules, and I thought, boy, what a great segue coming in. Their rules were more about guidelines and ways to live their life and how to navigate through their challenges in life. Sometimes rules, though, can be very restrictive and constrictive and are forced upon us. So with today's panel, in talking about how to be a business rule breaker, we've got some seasoned and successful executives sitting in the chair, right? So I'm going to introduce them first. And they're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that they've done to break rules and what they've done to become successful in breaking the rules. And sometimes it's the right thing to do is to break the rules. So how about a little wave first? So first and foremost, we have the founder of Castmetic Designs and PR for Anyone, Christina Daves. Hi, Christina.
Woo! Woo! Woo!
There you go. Woo-hoo. We also have Tereson Dupuy, and I hope I said that name right. I love saying the name
Nicely
Dupuy.
done.
Thank you very much.
New Orleans.
Probably one of the funnest company names. It brings a smile to my name every time. She is the CEO of Fuzzy Buns Diapers. So how about that, right? So a little right? And we also have the president and CEO of Hammonds Candies, Andrew Schuman, with us today. So hello, Andrew. Welcome.
Nice.
And lastly, but not leastly, we have radio personality, author, you name it, right? Personality, lecturer, consultant for small businesses.
Starship Commander.
Been around small businesses and mid-sized businesses for decades, and I say that earnestly, Barry Moltz. So take it away, Barry. We're going to do 30 minutes of discussion up front, then about 15 minutes of Q&A after that. So thank you all.
James, thanks so much. Thanks for being here. I'm so proud to be heading up this panel about breaking the rules. A couple years ago, we started an awards conference called the Rule Breaker Awards. And people say, well, Barry, why'd you start that conference? I said, because no one would ever give me my own award. So I figured I'd start my own conference. So we started Rule Breakers Awards, and this year Sage is sponsoring it. Sage was kind of say, well, why don't we have a panel about featuring small business owners that actually break the rules? Because I really believe to get anywhere in your business, you have to break a certain number of rules, and that's what we're discussing today. So first, Christina, let's start with you. Talk a little bit about yourself and how your business got started, and in your industry, how and why you started to break the rules.
Right, so I had actually retired from being an entrepreneur, spent about a year off, which was really hard when you're an entrepreneur, and I had this freak accident and I broke my foot. And I was on my way to New York City, and the doctor put me in that big, ugly black medical boot, and he said, I hope you packed all black. It's like, oh. So the whole way to New York, I'm looking for anything to make it look better, and there was nothing on the market. So then my little entrepreneurial light bulb went off, and I started researching. I found there are 4 million people a year put in those boots. That's a lot of ugly people, right? So I'm like, I created a fashion line to make them look good. So when you're recovering from an injury, you can feel better about yourself.
So just to follow up on that, Christina, what gave you the courage to think that your idea, your product would succeed? Because no one had done it before.
No, this product did not exist. I just had such a passion inside of me, and I've had a lot of success from people telling me that it was my passion, that they wanted to work with me, they wanted to invest in me, they wanted to put me in a magazine that had never had anything like that in it before. So it's you gotta believe with everything that it's gonna work, and I believed it and it worked.
That's great, that's great. So Tereson, tell us a little about, and I want to say this right, Fuzzy Buns Diapers.
Okay, well, I guess I would say that I've been looking for my big idea since I was probably 12 or 13 years old, but my big idea really didn't come until I was 28, and I had a child that had extremely bad diaper rash. So looking for solutions, I couldn't really find any. The cloth diapers on the market were pretty clunky and hard to wash, and really had not evolved too much since I was in them 45 years ago. So I got angry and I said, I can do this better. So I set out to make a better cloth diaper, and what I wound up doing is really modernizing cloth diapers and put them back on the map. It came out of me being angry that there were no real options. It was almost the year 2000, and there was just no progression. So that's what I did. I invented a stay dry pocket. Well, it's a pocket diaper, but it's a diaper that keeps babies dry, rash-free, which solved my problem
In
first
fact,
of all.
I'm wearing one now. Can
Yeah.
you see anything? It's fantastic. Keeps me totally dry.
Launching in
Can't see anything.
2016.
Unbelievable. It's just see, it works.
So
You're selling diapers, and there's so many mega billion-dollar, mega trillion-dollar companies selling diapers. What gave you the courage to think that you could compete?
because someone told me I couldn't.
We'll talk about that.
When I first started out, I think it was in 2000, I went to a PR company, should have done my own, and I told them what I was doing, and they pretty much laughed me out of the building, said, you can't make money selling cloth diapers. And I'm like, oh really? Well, I'll show you, and then went on to form a multi-million-dollar company and did quite well with it. So anyway, I've always looked at what somebody told me that I couldn't do, and decided that I would do it, and I would do it better, and I'd do it differently, and that's what I said. I'm still doing it.
It's fantastic. Landry, you and I met last year on the panel as well, though I think it was right over there. Tell us about Hammond Candies and about your success.
So Hammonds Candies we're in the confections industry, and it's a company that's been around since 1920. I bought the business in 2007, third owner of the company, and it was kind of broken at the time. Hadn't really made money in a long time since the original family owned it. And I came in and looked at what was going on in the business and started one by one changing certain things. I don't know if I was breaking rules specifically in doing that, but I looked at what was going on with our people, and I truly think that people are probably the most important piece of a business, and started bringing them together and started growing the business, looking at other talent outside of the business, bringing it in, and pretty soon, we've grown that original business from about 4 million to 18 million since 2007, and in 2012 we acquired another business, Old Dominion Peanut Company, which does things a little bit differently than Hammonds. It's a little bit more mechanized, where Hammonds is doing most everything by hand. But we do make everything in the United States, and that's a pretty important thing to us. It's one of our differentiators.
So you're making stuff in the United States, that's rule breaking on its own. What made you think, why did you have the audacity to think that you could be profitable by making stuff in the US? Because everyone sends it overseas, it's a lot cheaper.
Well, certainly with Hammonds, we have positioned ourselves in a more high-end market, and so we have priced our product. We have competition. I don't want to say we don't have competition, but no one does it as well as we do. And so what we've been able to do is build a product, and it's mostly hard candy, marshmallow and caramel, and we've branched out into chocolate as well.
I'm getting hungry, you guys?
Yeah, I eat every day, and we've figured out how to scale it. We looked at the efficiencies, how we do it, looked at our capacities, and we just started making candy.
So once you bought the business 2007, things never go the way you hope they would go. They don't go perfect. What are the biggest obstacles that you faced over the last 8 years?
So in 2000,
I don't want to mention the obstacles you've actually overcome.
I'm going to tell you,
Because if you haven't overcome the obstacles, we're not really interested in hearing about those.
You don't want to hear about the ones I overcame?
We only hear the ones you were successful at.
Okay, successful at overcoming.
Overcoming, right.
All right, so
Failure is a different panel. This is a success
I'm
panel.
speaking on that one next.
Right.
yeah, let's see, so this is the 9th year of the business. We're on our 5th bank. I think the banking issues that I had in the beginning almost put us out of business.
Bank is a 4-letter word, Andrew, right?
Correct. We went into some hard economic times for the community, and certainly for the banks. Our business was growing, but the banks didn't want to deal with a small business like us. So, we went through one, we went through another, we got an SBA loan, and finally, as we started growing and becoming more profitable, and did this acquisition, we found a great partner in Capital One Bank, and that's
Good to
really
hear.
what's helped propel us forward.
Well, Tereson, as you were coming on the market, what's the biggest obstacle you faced and how'd you slay it?
I think it's actually still an obstacle, but it's not as big of one as it used to be. But there was nobody really using cloth diapers, and I think truly the biggest challenge was convincing people that the product was a modern version of a cloth diaper. Even now, people still say, "Oh, you're doing what?" You know, it's pins and plastic pants. So it was overcoming the mindset that, you know, disposable diapers came on the market in 1965, and pretty much in 15 years obliterated any thought of cloth diapers. So it's just changing people's mindset. But I would have to say, in 15 years, we've been doing this for 15 years, the first 5 were spent really being a cheerleader for cloth diapers. I would get on top of any mountain that I could possibly get on top of, and I've got a lot of press. We go on a lot of TV shows and magazines.
Being on top of a mountain with a
etc.
diaper on, that would certainly would attract a lot of press.
Yeah, well, you know, landfills, that is a mountain. You know.
There you go.
But anyway, I would shout from wherever I could, "Hey, it's different, pay attention." And as I did, people started paying attention, and the word of mouth really started growing. And you know, we now have this community of very passionate cloth diaper using moms, and they're still telling other people. So I've seen it change from the first 5 years to the second five years, and now in this last 5 years, really seeing climate change, no pun intended, but how people are thinking differently. And now, the moms that were having babies when I first came on board to now, it's a whole different generation of parent, and they now know, oh, well, I'm gonna, you know, look at my choices, cloth versus disposable. Whereas 15 years ago, there was no choice. So it's been interesting to see things change, but it's taken a village and an army.
Now, for you and Christina, one of the biggest problems for a lot of consumer kinds of products is to get them in distribution. You know, it's hard for new companies to get into stores, or are you selling it just direct, or are you selling it as well for retail?
I do sell direct, although I'll say I can't stand selling direct to consumer. I'd much rather sell B2B. And I've actually recently done something a little bit different, maybe broke the rules. Instead of going the traditional sales rep route where, you know, these people have relationships with stores, we did all of our distribution in-house for a long time. But it was easy because people were coming to me to sell the product, so I didn't have to do outside sales.
Right.
Now, with competition being as it is, we have to go and beat the pavement and approach stores. And recently I just put out on our Facebook page, hey, Fuzzy Buns is hiring. Are you a passionate cloth diapering mom? Do you believe in Fuzzy Buns? Do you want to be a rep for our company? Commission only, I'm not paying any of these people's salaries. That's a whole other area. But anyway, I had a tremendous outpouring of interest. So now I have 20 new sales reps, each has 2 states, and they're doing all the work for us, and it's been pretty interesting.
That's great. So Christina, for you, what was your biggest obstacle to actually getting the product out there and get people to use it and see it?
Right, well, before I even could do that, I had to get it manufactured. And
Oh yeah, we forgot about that
there's
part.
That, which I have a yellow notepad that I keep at home that keeps me inspired. I spent 5 months. I contacted every cut and sew factory in the United States. I mailed thousands of dollars of fabric and faux fur and samples and can you do this? And every single person either turned me down because it was an unknown. They didn't want to make something that nobody had made before. So I finally, rule breaker, resourceful, I took my samples and I went to a textile show in New York and I went booth to booth to booth. Nobody had any idea what it was. Can you make this? Can you make this? Can you make this? And I finally found somebody in Philadelphia who was a manufacturer's rep. I had to go overseas. Nobody would make it in the US. And I've heard this from so many women entrepreneurs, productpreneurs. I don't know if it's a good old boy network, but you've got to really be resourceful and passionate. I keep talking about that, but if you've got an idea, you just got to see it through because there are a lot of obstacles. And that was my biggest one.
And so you keep talking about passion, and I think passion is very important, Christina, because it's the thing that's going to keep you warm when everything's going to crap,
bad.
right?
I got
So how do you use it?
I do. People say my passion is infectious, but And I'll tell you guys a really funny story. I went to, is everyone familiar with SCORE? You know, they help
Sure.
small business owners. Well, we didn't have SCORE, but we had something similar to that. So I walked in and I told them, and they told me 6 months later, they said, Christina, we thought you were nuts. But every time you walked in, you're like, I'm gonna make this medical booth look so good, and people are gonna love it. And you kept coming in, and then you were on TV, and then you were in magazines. And then they said, you just believed it. They were like, we believe it now too.
Well, remember, they thought Howard Schultz was nuts. He was going to create a place where people were going to come, spend $5 for a latte, and spend the whole day. So,
Right.
Andrew, in your business, when really was the tipping point when you knew that you're going to be successful, or it's all downhill from here?
That's interesting. I don't know if there was any one tipping point. I think what happened was, actually, I do know the tipping point. The tipping point is when I was taking
Tell us
my
then.
18-hour days and they started going down to 12-hour days. Okay.
Wow.
I knew at that point, all right, I could hire someone and bring someone in who, could really help me, because I was doing everything at that time except my accountant. We had a CFO who was great. And then I brought in someone who was a seasoned salesperson to take over that phase of the business, and I could concentrate on operations, and he could concentrate on sales, and that was really the tipping point. Again, coming back to people.
Right. And so that's really the key, is somewhere along the line you can't do it all yourself. And if you're
No.
truly successful, you got to find like-minded other people, right?
No, I was doing everything. I was doing, I would help the shipping department out from, 4 to 7. I'd come in and be on the floor from, 7 till 11. I'd go in my office for 2 hours trying to clean up things. And, it is important. Like-minded people in your business it's key. I'm having some issues now with our acquisition, trying to bring those two cultures together.
Very difficult.
And especially, I'm in Denver, it's in Norfolk, and that's a challenge I'm having right
Absolutely. Tereson, where would you say your tipping point was?
When I knew I was going to be successful,
Yes.
when I could never keep up with demand, and it was year
nice.
1 and year 2 and year 3 and year 4 and year 5, and I'm still growing.
Well, the good news,
and
it's always going to be a
struggling.
problem, right? So we're always going to need diapers, right?
Not always going to be a problem, and that's I don't know how that kind of ties into that question, but the first part of it was just never being able to have enough. Keep continuing to add team players and build out that infrastructure, but it was never ever enough. So, and then having to outsource. Christina and I's story fairly similar. Looking for people for places in the United States. I had my own manufacturing facility for 5 years. But then once that wasn't enough or big enough, and I couldn't fit another employee or machine in any square inch of the building, then I had to outsource to China. And maybe that's when I thought I made it, but then that actually almost destroyed the company.
Wow. Christina, what was your tipping point?
So I was at one of those low points that you talked about. I had a lot of bills to pay. It had not taken off the way that I thought it was going to take off. And I remember it was a Tuesday night, and I was literally in tears, and I woke up on Wednesday morning, and there's an email from the Steve Harvey show. And they said, we might want to have you on the show. So I spent all day interviewing with producers. 9 o'clock that night, I'm at a booster club meeting. I've got my mom hat on, and they called me and they said, we want you on the show. And I still don't know what the show is. I'm like, okay, great. That sounds wonderful. When? Tomorrow. We're flying you out. What's your airport of choice and the name on your driver's license? So this whirlwind, they fly me to Chicago. I get in a limo. They take me there. They stick their head in, and they said, you're pitching for $20,000. Come up. You've got a 2-minute pitch you've got to put together. So I was against 5 other inventors, and they had a panel of judges, and I won. And that $20,000 was exactly what I needed to get over the hump, to get me going, and that was it. That saved my business.
And by the way, Christina was our first-year grand prize rule breaker winner. And if you want to see her and Tereson tonight, they'll be at the event. I'm hoping that Andy will come. But again, 7 o'clock tonight at the Hilton. If you'd like your exclusive after-party invitation, let us know. So I think now we're going to do some Q&A.
That's right, all good things must end. So thank you again. How about a round of applause for our customer here? Really great insights, great story.